Good morning, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, we give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Also, I want to acknowledge the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. I also want to acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson today and gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, the events that are currently happening here on the earth, and the changes that are soon to take place. It's been an amazing journey, brethren. And today we're going to get into a couple of topics. One of the topics we're going to get into is Trump's comment telling the 4 congresswomen of color to go back to where they came from. What a lot of Gentiles and Edomites don't seem to understand is that the times that we're in is just repeating themselves. So these kinds of declarations and telling other people certain things they need to do or is going to happen to them is really going to happen to the Edomites and to the Gentiles that the Most High doesn't want in our lands anymore. Just like when Pharaoh made the decree that all the first of the Hebrew children were going to die at the end of the plagues. Those kinds of events are repeating themselves. When Edomites and other nations have come over here and stolen our land, taken our identity, replaced us with another group of people, taken our land as their own, and then are very, very boastful and proud about it. The Most High is allowing them to walk into their own traps. The Most High is like, okay, well, you're going to sit there and say that? Actually, I'm going to turn that on your own head. You're going to be the one that's going to leave the land, which is exactly what biblical prophecy says is going to happen. And I'm going to get into the prophecies and the Bible as well as other books about how he's going to take the other nations out of our lands. And he's going to restore our lands back to us. But before we get into that, I want to give you guys a quick update on the sister that I asked you guys to pray for. Prayer is truly powerful, and she's doing much better. And she wanted to say thank you to all the brethren who have been praying for her. And I wanted to say thank you to the brothers and sisters that have been praying for her, as well as to Elder Ayal. Brother, I pray I'm pronouncing your name correct, from One Nation, One Power. And his people were actually praying for her as well. And those are the times that we are now coming into. We are coming into the times where we as a community need to start to come together and work together and support one another and pray for one another. It is getting to be now time for us to exercise our spiritual power, our spiritual gifts. The Most High is now waiting for us to come together as a people of like-minded thinking individuals. I've learned quite a bit from many of the brothers that I watch. I was watching Elder Ayal's video where he was showing Mr. Levi's video about the great civilizations that were present before the Europeans came. And I had never heard of Mr. Levi before, so I went and subscribed to his channel, and he has some wonderful videos up as well. I would suggest that if you want to get more knowledge and understanding, you just definitely check out Kurumeo's channel. He has excellent information, excellent research. And he's bringing out a gang of information. I suggest you look at 432 The Drop. That brother has excellent information. deep information. Definitely Lil Moray, he has great information. Lex Will, he's been doing this a long time. He brings out great information. Graham Hancock, I guess my brother was telling me yesterday that they took one of his channels down. And that's something that, we have to kind of understand is going to happen because, the devil realizes that the truth is coming out. But this is all biblical prophecy. And I'm going to actually read a little bit at the end of the video about how, as the like-minded individuals who are reading other books and getting information from other books, we are prophesied to come together. And I pray that this is just the first step with Elder Ayal from One Nation, One Power, and other people as well coming together in order to bring that spiritual power back to our people. But it's going to be the ones who have embraced the other books, embraced the other understanding. And I'm going to show you that as well. Because like I said, this is all biblical prophecy. But not just the Southern Kingdom's books, but the Northern Kingdom's books as well as historical books and information that has been hidden, that the Most High is bringing out. I said, so I'm learning every day. I'm growing every day. And that's how it should be. And I want us to start to pray for one another every day. I want to start getting into some other sealed books that have been released recently that I've been really getting into and reading and getting a lot of deep information I'm going to be sharing real soon. But I let the Spirit guide me as well. And when I'm seeing biblical prophecy coming together, such as a brother like, Elder Ayal from One Nation, One Power and myself coming together in order to push this truth, I said that is biblical prophecy. And I anticipate there's going to be many more of us that's going to start to come together and share. And the Most High is going to be behind that. And he's going to bless that because that's exactly what he said he was going to do. We're now coming into the time where we don't need to move and hope that things are going to be a certain way. We need to be moving and knowing that the Father is behind us, that the Father is moving us, and the Father is going to now, move mountains for us. For so long, our priesthood, our spirit has been working behind the scenes, but allowing things to happen to us because we were going through the curses. Now that we're coming out of that time, it is now time for us to stand up and be the people that the Most High has chosen us to be loving to one another and stop hating each other. That's all part of the devil's plan. As long as he can keep us fighting and, hey, my group's better than your group. We got the truth here. You don't have anything over there. If you're not with us, you're going to go to hell. That's what the devil does. So we're moving into the time now that we need to, as a community, begin to exercise our spiritual power. And as long as we are fighting and going at it for one another for every little thing, the Most High is not going to give us that spiritual power back. The power is already in us, brethren. It is now time for us to execute that power and be the people that the Most High has chosen us to be. And one thing on the last, as you could tell how the devil works. On the last video, I had set up I pinned a comment about where people can kind of go and ask for prayer, so we can all kind of go there and look for people that wanted some prayer. And it devolved into one dude wanting to have a debate about the earthly mother. But that's what the devil does. Tries to keep us from coming back together. Tries to keep us from, praying for one another, being there for one another, supporting one another. You have to always look at that because that is something that the devil's always trying to throw a monkey wrench into us coming together as a people. If people are all negative and wanting to argue and fuss and fight about every little thing, those aren't the people I want around me. Those are the kind of people we've had around us our entire lives. I'm looking for brethren who want to come together and want to grow in this thing and want to bring knowledge and understanding back to the people, want to pray for one another. That's what we're moving into now. And that goes also for the Gentiles that the Most High is going to enlighten to this truth. You gotta understand that they've been lied to. Vast majority of them have been lied to as well. Everyone, as far as what they're going to get as far as their blessing, comes from the Most High. He's the one that dictates who gets what. Not me, not you. So whoever it is the Most High decides to get this information and is brought in, I'm there to do his will, whatever his will is. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get into this lesson real quick, brethren. I showed us a couple of these pictures before, but many of the higher ups know the truth. They know that their time had a begin date and an expiration date. Thomas Jefferson says, "I tremble for my country when I reflect that the Most High is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever." He knew that eventually this day was going to come. The end of the Edomite rule, the end of the Gentile rule, and the restoration of the Most High's people. Okay? So, like I said, now they're making decrees against themselves when they're telling other people to go back to where they came from. Well, where did you guys come from? They talk about, when Trump was saying, go back to your countries that had horrible governments and things like that. You know what, actually, let me just play a little bit of the clip and you guys can listen to it yourselves. Let me get it real quick. I'm just going to play a couple minutes here and we'll just listen.
Four outspoken Democratic politicians, all women of color, all U.S. citizens, all but one born in the United States. Yet according to President Trump, they should all go home and fix the problems in their own countries. Leading Democrats have rounded on Mr. Trump, accusing him of racism, whilst Theresa May described his language as completely unacceptable. Far from apologizing, the president insists his tweets have not been racist, declaring, "If you hate our country, if you're complaining all the time, you can leave right now." Kieran Jenkins reports from Washington, D.C.
If you're not happy here, you can leave. And that's what I say all the time. That's what I said in a tweet, which I guess some people think is controversial. A lot of people love it, by the way.
He didn't quite repeat it the way he'd said it on Twitter. A president who spent the morning showing off American products, fending off questions about outright racism. In his tweets, Donald Trump took aim at progressive Democrat congresswomen who he claimed originally came from countries whose governments are a catastrophe. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? They're known as the...
Now, that's pretty funny because when the Europeans came here, they were coming from, infested, disease-infested, poor countries with horrible governments who, after they discovered this country, were quick to trying to get everybody over here because all of the resources, everything they needed, their paradise was over here. And they were living in utter squalor and just disgusting conditions. Remember when they got here, they didn't know how to brush their teeth. They weren't clean. They had nothing. So they're coming from exactly what he was accusing the other people from coming from as far as their countries and their governments are concerned. It's like the pot calling the kettle black, isn't it? Says the hypocrisy is absolutely hilarious when you sit here and just listen to it. Let's continue.
Squad 4 women unafraid to take on the president or their own party. But where would they go back exactly? All bar one, born in the USA. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, birthplace the Bronx, New York, said the president used the hallmark language of white supremacists.
Because he relies on racism, division, and anti-immigrant sentiment to consolidate power because he does not have a positive vision for the future of America.
Cincinnati-born Ayanna Presley said she was going nowhere. Ilhan Omar, naturalized US citizen who came from Somalia as a child, accused Donald Trump of stoking white nationalism. Rashida Tlaib, born in Detroit, said this.
I want you to know that you belong, that this is our country, and no amount of hate-filled bullying from the White House is going to change that.
Theresa May, Prime Minister a few days longer, called the...
Okay, let me skip up here to this other congressman here who did an interview here on this video of another congressman and what he had to say about the comments.
Terms, and then ask Americans to make this divisive choice of whether they are with him or against him.
Kieran Jenkins. Well, now we're joined from Washington by the Democratic Congressman Jim Hines, who's represented Connecticut's 4th District for 10 years. Congressman Hines, thanks for joining us. You, like the 4 congresswomen he has called out, are foreign-born, in your case in Peru. Why do you think he didn't call you out as well?
Well, first of all, 3 of the 4 congresswomen that he called out were born in the United States, unlike me. But you ask exactly the right question. This has nothing to do with birthplace. This has to do with the president's deeply ingrained belief that unless you are what I am, a white male of European descent, you're not really an American. And look, this harks back to the way Donald Trump made his political debut in this country.
And that's really true. That's how they feel. If you're not a white from Europe with European descent, you're not really an American, which really is really controversial. I mean, that's a hypocritical statement. How can you be a white person with European descent, but then also be an American? That would make you a European, would it not? It wouldn't make you an American. But, that's another day. That's another topic for another day. All right. So that's what's going on right now. And what you're going to understand is this is actually what's been pushed in the Hebrew community as well. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But it's pretty much the whole aim of the white nationalist movement has been pushed in the Hebrew community. So that's why you need to make sure that you're definitely looking at the fruits of a person and an individual in order to see what their overall goal is or their aim is when what they're teaching. Okay, but we'll get into that a little bit later on into the in the video. We're going to read some today from Habakkuk 2 and 3. We're going to read down about from 3 to 16 because there's a lot of really good information coming right now. But we're going to start in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. Let me grab it from my phone. Because now that these other books and understanding is coming out, now the true understanding of many of these verses is going to have a totally different meaning. Which is why no one could really have 100% truth unless they have this other information that the Most High said he was going to give at the end. Anyone thinking that you know everything is really actually going against Scripture. If people feel that the stuff that they've been taught years ago and that it was never going to change, you're now going against Scripture, because the Most High did say he was going to lock books up until the end. He's not talking about what you call the Bible, because the Bible has been around for hundreds of years now, since the since Constantine put it together. So that book was the one that was able to be read by everyone. So if people are coming up with all of these doctrines and breakdowns and act like they can't be changed, see, the Most High said he was going to unleash books at the end, unleash information at the end. But if you think that you've gotten all the information and you don't need anything else, then you're going against what the Most High's plan is. His plan was to unleash information at the end. And this information was going to open up understanding. And a huge part of this understanding is to know which lands the Most High gave to us. Because then you can understand how prophecy is going to unfold. If you go by what Esau has been telling us about the Middle East being the key, and looking at all the information, all of the events that are going on over there, excuse me, you are going to miss the way it's happening over here. And that's what the vast majority of the world is missing. They're missing the awakening that's happening right in front of their face, because they're too busy looking over in the so-called Middle East, thinking that all prophecy revolves around those people, when it revolves around the lands here in the Americas and the people waking up here. That's where prophecy, revolves around. So he got the whole world looking at the other side of the world when prophecy is unfolding right in front of their face. And many people in the Hebrew community are doing the same thing, because that's the way the devil set this up, to be looking over there in the Middle East and thinking that that's where all of the prophecy is going to be taking place. So, that's Gog and Magog going to happen over there. Oh, then that's there's going to be great wars and tribulations going to be happening over there. And then they're missing a lot of the awakening that's going on right here. And the awakening wasn't just who we are as a people. That's a big part of it, and many of the Hebrew community have been a part of that. But another huge part of that is the revelation of our lands and our history. And many people are fighting that. Now, let me just read Habakkuk 2 and 3. Take a look at this real quick. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. We're just going to take a look at that real quick. For the vision, if you click a vision, another word for vision is revelation. So you can say, for the revelation is yet for an appointed time. The true revelation of who we are and where our land is, okay, is for an appointed time. That's gonna be in the future, because the Edomites had a chance to come over here and wipe all that history away from us. So the Most High was going to have to give us those books later, at the end of our punishment, and that's what He's been doing. That's part of the whole revelation right now. Okay, it says, but at the end it shall speak. So at the end of their time, at the end of their reign, and the beginning of our reign, that's when this revelation is going to be revealed. And it will not lie. It's not going to lie. It's going to be the truth, the whole truth. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. This truth is not going to be stopped. It is going to come, because the Most High has ordained it. Okay? Let me see here. It's the last days prophecy. So you really can't get the whole understanding of even Habakkuk 2 and 3 until he's ready to reveal much more, all these books at the end. If we were only using the 80 books, you're not going to be able to get the full revelation that the Most High wants to give. And I'm going to show you why in a little bit as we keep on reading. Okay? I'm going to read 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So the person who's in charge, the Edomites, okay? His soul in him is not upright, But it says, but the just shall live by his faith. We're going to follow his religions. We're going to follow his gods of wood and stone. Okay? It says, yea, also, because he transgresseth with wine, or by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right, so right there, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, by his philosophies, by his lies, by hiding information, by keeping things hidden from us, by giving us his religions and keeping our way of worship away from us. That's what he's done. That's how he's transgressed with wine. That's the wine he's talking about, made us drunk. Okay, and he is a proud man. You know, Esau is very proud, even all the way to the end. Dude has a nerve to sit there and say, why don't you go back to your own country, you know, with horrible governments, when he's not even from here. And his governments were corrupt. But see, he hides all that information. It says, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell. He doesn't stay at his home. He goes and takes everyone else's homes. Okay? And as death, and is as death. He brings death everywhere he goes, and cannot be satisfied. And that's right. Edomites and all these Gentiles can never be happy or satisfied. Why they want more, more, and more. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So he puts all people under his control. All people, all nations. And that's what he does even to today. Now, 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. That is huge right there. Destruction to him that takes things that are not his. He came over here. Now see, that's showing you. He came over here and took a land. The Edomites portrayed it in history books like there was nobody here. So they didn't take anything from anyone. You see that? But in actuality, he came and took a land that did not belong to him. See, if you don't have that revelation here at the end with these other books, if you don't have that revelation that he's coming and taking things that are not his, then that also is refers to as this land. You won't get the full understanding of what's going on here when you're reading that. So that's huge. Okay, let me read that again. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. He took all of our lands that were not his. And we already know, I'm going to get into that a little bit later, what happens when you take, especially lands that are not yours, what's going to happen to you. Okay? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. You know, and that's what he's done with all this debt. You know, he's laden himself with all $22 trillion of debt and climbing at astronomical numbers every single day, because it takes a lot of money in order to try to maintain, you know, all these things that he's taken that are not his. But that number 6 is a huge part of prophecy. That's why verse 3 was so important. That at the end it shall speak. At the end it's going to be giving you information and understanding. Because then you go to number 6 when he says, woe to him that increases that which is not his. That is destruction. And that has to do with what you're going to find in the book of Jubilees. Because if you go and take things that are not yours, you're going to be cursed. You're going to be cursed with destruction. And that was an agreement that was made thousands of years ago. So that's why, like I said, now these other understanding is coming out, that you cannot come and take other lands that are not yours. And now that we're realizing, everyone, you know, many people are realizing that this land is ours. Now you have heaped destruction on yourself. Number 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. That's the Most High talking about raising up. There's your, was it 14:1 of Isaiah, 14:1 and 2, about he raising up his people and the other nations cleaving to Israel. Let me just read that real quick. As he raises up his people, many of the Gentiles are going to, cling to Israel. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1, probably 1 and 2. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So as he wakens us up and has mercy on us, he's going to restore the lands back to us. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. That's what this is referring to right here in verse 7. All right. So 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. That land it shows up quite a bit. We have to realize the violence of the land, the violence of the land. Things are going to happen to you because of what you did to the land, to the people in the land. You don't understand that this is our land, and this is what, and the destruction that was brought here. It'll make it very difficult to understand how deep these verses are going. Okay? Let me see here. 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Now see, destruction to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, by coming and taking our lands and our resources and our labor in order to put himself up on high. That's why a lot of these Edomites are very, very proud. Just like Trump right there. If you don't like it, leave. Well, I think the Most High is going to say that's the same thing to you. He's going to be telling you guys to leave. Because ultimately, what they say doesn't matter. It's what the Most High says. And if the Most High says that this is our land, and this is our inheritance, and that you're not supposed to be here, they're going to be the ones that are going to be leaving. Okay? And they've used all of our labor, land, and our resources in order to put their nest up on high. All right? 10. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. They've brought shame to themselves for what they've done. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. Is that not what has happened? Is that not what has happened to our people? Is that not what the Edomites and the Gentiles have done? Established everything here with blood, and established their cities with sin. Yes, that's exactly what has happened. Behold, is it not the Lord of hosts, that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity? For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Most High, as the waters cover the sea. And that is what we're doing. We are now being the ones that are being used by the Most High to bring, to fill this knowledge of the glory of the Most High. We are the ones that are being used to share the Most High's plan from the beginning to the end. And it is an absolute huge blessing. And I'm asking like-minded brethren to come together and start to work together for the Most High in order to share this knowledge with the world. Okay? Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. That's exactly what the other nations have done to us. They've given us their philosophies, their religions, and destroyed our people, and made our people far from their power by worshiping their gods. So this is not just about drinking and alcohol. This is about ways of thinking, philosophies, religions, so that as they put us at the bottom, then they could laugh at us and say, oh man, these are God's chosen people. Look at how we have them. Look at what we have them doing. Look at how we have them worshiping our gods and not their own. Look at what we have them doing. We have them yearning to go back to a land that is not their own. Look what we have them doing. We have them they don't even have knowledge that this is their own land and this is their blessing. But we have them yearning to go to someone else's land, which is then another sin. But the Most High is now working to fix those wrongs. 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Talking about that cup being moved from us to them. The cup of trembling. I'm trying to look to see if I have that real quick here. Which verse? I have a couple of them. Let me see. All right, let me read that real quick. Isaiah 51:19. I'm going to read down to about 22 at least. These two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine, and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Most High, the rebuke of thy God. That's what happens to our kids, our people. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith the Lord and thy God, that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. So he's taking the curses from us. All right. Continue with 23, actually with 51:23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over. So they told us to bow down. They gave us this drink and told us to bow down so they could be over us. And that's what this is all talking about right here. All the lies that have been told to us that our people have followed. All the lies, not some of the lies need to be remedied. All these lies need to be fixed. And it's funny how as I bring out a lot of this information, I get attacked. And it's funny. I'm like, well, you're attacking me for actually bringing out some information, but you're not upset with the people who actually have hid all this information from us. Does that make absolutely any sense? Get upset with the person who's bringing you the knowledge and understanding, but not get upset with the people who have hidden everything. Like I said, that's why you have to look at people's fruits. I crack up with the whole, well, it doesn't say earthly mother in the Bible. So, in John, it says he. So just because it says he, that means that's it. That's the extent of it. You don't have to do any more research. If you actually pressed he, it'll actually tell you that it's neuter, no sex. It's not that difficult to actually do some research, but people are just going to look at the first word and then that's it. That's because that's what you want to believe. You want to believe that we all came from Africa and you don't want to do any research? That's fine. If the Most High hasn't given it to you, there's nothing I can do about it. But for the other people that actually the Most High is opening their eyes, we're here for you. Now, to show you how the Most High is about to remove these other nations. I've gone into this before. Actually, Joel 2:20, but let me read a little bit before that. Because he's going to renew this land for us. He's going to make things brand new for us. But for the other people, he's going to remove them from us. Okay. Let me start at Joel 2 and 17. Let the priests, the ministers of the Most High, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their God? It says, don't leave us to the other nations. Don't leave us as a reproach. So the other nations can say, where is your God now that we have them at the bottom? Which is what they've been saying. 18, then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people. You see that? The land and the people, it's synonymous, it goes together. He's jealous for his land and what they've done to his land and for what they've done to his people. That's why it's so important, because you have to have that understanding, because then when you start to read these scriptures, then all of a sudden it starts to make much more sense. 19, yea, the Most High will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. See it right there? He's going to heal us, heal our land, and not have us at the bottom with these heathen anymore. That was part of our punishment. But he's going to remedy that situation. Look at 20. Really important. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and I will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. That's huge. He's going to remove, the army far off, and into a land barren and desolate. Those are the lands that they were already given. They were already given barren and desolate lands. That's what Japheth was given. That's what Ham was given. We were given the best lands. So when he's driving these people off, that's what he's doing. Have you noticed how when you look at these railroads, you see like a lot of these pictures of them moving all this military equipment, all these different places, but we never see where they're going. We see them on the trains, but then you never see where they're going. Does it make much more sense that they know what's coming? So they're taking a lot of these this military equipment out of here. They're moving it out of these lands. Everyone keeps saying, yeah, it's for all these wars. Well, there's going to be some wars, definitely. But they're getting that stuff out of here because they already know what's about to happen. They know the scriptures. They know that they have a certain amount of time. So you'll see, I've been seeing videos of them moving all this military equipment all over the place. But then, it'll be there for a day and all of a sudden it's all gone the next day. This makes much more sense that if you know the scriptures and you know what the Most High is revealing, that they're taking that stuff and getting that the heck out of here because they know it's going to get destroyed if it stays here. So they're taking it wherever they can, getting it out of here, taking it to their lands, these desolate lands, these barren lands. That's where they're taking it to. So like I said, the Most High is planning on getting them out of here, moving them. So when you hear, Trump say certain things like, hey, if you don't like it here, leave. Well, the Most High is going to have the last laugh because he's going to say, nah, you leave. You're going to be the one that's going to go. And anyone that the Most High does not approve to stay here is going to go. He's going to protect us right here. This is going to be, like I said, the Goshen of the world. This is going to be a paradise once again. That's what the Most High is going to do. So if, people are, even like Gentiles, if they're allowed to stay, even if they're going to be serving, much rather be serving in paradise than dying in these barren, desolate lands. Those are the choices you're going to have to make. That the Most High is going to allow some people to make. Okay. Next, Second Esdras. Well, it's a beautiful picture of our lands. And you understand why it is they want everybody else to leave and they want to stay. When you see beautiful waters like this, you imagine how absolutely beautiful it was before the Europeans got here. Like they said, it was like a paradise. Absolutely beautiful. It's gonna be once again. And if you want the Most High to bless you to stay, I would be getting on my hands and knees and praying for the Most High to have mercy while all hell breaks loose elsewhere. He's going to be renewing his people here. Now, this is also talked about here. Now, he said, is you get these revelations as to where our land is, okay? Then you'll start to pick up on more things when you're reading. When the Most High gives you this understanding here at the end, then you get a chance to actually understand more when you're reading. I want to say this is 2nd Esdras, I think 13. I don't have my book in front of me. Almost positive. 2nd Esdras chapter 13, around verse 29. I took pictures and I kind of left my books all over the place. Let's see here. 29 through 33. Yeah, it is. 2nd Esdras 13, 29 through 33. Behold, now watch where they're going to be fighting at. Okay? Because everyone makes it sound like this is going to be just fighting. Well, you'll see. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. All right, so just like Matthew 24, the whole world is going to be mourning. They're going to be astonished when they see the Son coming back. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. You're going to be having people fighting, like I said, here in the carnal realm, as well as spiritual realm, going to be fighting. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I showed thee before. And then shall the Son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. That's huge right there. Right there in 33. And when the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. When Yahushua comes back, the other nations are going to be at battle, fighting each other, but they're going to be in their own lands fighting. Not going to be in other people's lands fighting. They're going to be fighting in their own lands. That would mean then that, this huge melting pot of people that are here are going to be sent back to their own lands before Mashiach comes back. See that? So, like I said, many people are going to be leaving this place. That's why it's so important for them to make sure they try to keep this information under wraps. That's why there's so many people trying to attack this information as it comes out. You see that right there? That's huge right there. So as he comes back, Mashiach, Yahushua comes back, the other nations are fighting in their own lands. So like I said, by moving all their military equipment out of here, all of a sudden they're trying to put everything over in the Middle East. They're trying to set up like they're sitting there for a huge war. Yeah, there's going to be a war. They're going to be fighting each other, but they're going to be fighting each other over there. After the Most High makes everybody leave. Okay? Let me see here. Let me see, go to 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle, and they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion. Okay? He's going to be here with his people right here. That's when them hooks get put into their mouths. And the Most High says, makes them get back over here. Come over here and try to take a spoil again for my people over here in the Americas. So the first time I allowed you guys to come over here and do what you guys wanted to do, I'm going to make you guys come back again a second time, but I'm going to stand up for my people. See how that works out right there? And it shows you right here. But sometimes maybe, because we don't have all the understanding, we can make doctrines years ago and think that we got it all we understand it, this and that. But then as the Most High brings out more books and more understanding, what you're seeing now is many people in the community, the Hebrew community, are just refusing to even look at the information, refusing to even admit, hey, maybe you know what? It's not even necessary that you're wrong. It's just that we didn't have all the information. Let's revisit this and look at the information. Let's come together as a family and work through this together. That's how it should be. But many people prefer to just say, this is what I've always believed. This is how I've always seen it. And I'm not willing to look at anything new. And that's what you see, because the vast majority of the times when someone tries to attack, it's a personal attack. It's something personal about myself. I mean, like people talking about my wife or my kids or myself. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know me. You don't know my wife. You don't know my kids. How are you even coming up with all this stuff? But that's just a deflection from the information. I could care less what you have to say. You don't know anything about me or my family. So whatever, you're just speaking a bunch of foolishness, and you're actually just opening yourself up for the Most High to do more damage to you by attacking me wrongfully. And that's your choice. I said, but ultimately they don't talk about the information. They don't try to debunk the information because they can't. So they just try to ignore it. Here we go from the book of Jubilees, 1 chapter 9. We'll take a look at verse 14. And thus the sons of Noah divided unto their sons in the presence of Noah, their father, and he bound them all by an oath, imprecating a curse on every one that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot. That's huge right there. Imprecating a curse on everyone that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot. So anyone who comes and takes someone else's lands, claims them as their own, has now put a curse on them and their seed. 15. And they said, so be it for themselves and their sons forever, not for a little bit of time. This is a curse that'll go, this is an agreement that goes on forever. It says throughout their generations till the day of judgment, on which Yahweh Elohim shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all the unclean wickedness of their errors, wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression and uncleanness and fornication and sin. Kind of sounds like he already knew the future. He already knew what was going to happen. Right there. It says, and which Yahweh Elohim shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all the unclean wickedness of their errors. Remember giving us the wine, making us worship their gods, making us follow their ways, lying to us about everything. He's already telling you this is what's going to happen. The unclean wickedness of their errors, wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression. As this wine was spread throughout this whore of Babylon, this was given to everyone. And that did not originate here in the Americas. That originated with the church. Because pretty much if you want to make it in this world, you're going to have to bow down to the church. To that, the lesser priest line. Okay? Wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression and uncleanness and fornication and sin. And so all these books are coming together in a convergence. Everything is converging. And see, the Most High is pulling his sons and his daughters out of the river. But it's not. He's trying to pull us all the way out. Part of it was, yes, getting our nose out and getting our eyes out of the water was realizing who we are. The rest of the information is now realizing where our lands are. Once you realize that, then you can actually put scriptures together, and it'll make much more sense. You can then figure out prophecy and what's going to happen. So there's no coincidence that there's going to be an X with these eclipses 7 years apart, and they're not happening over. The X is not being formed over in the Middle East. It's being formed here in the Americas. Most High is showing you even in the skies that this is a land, and that this prophecy is very important. So to keep your eyes about what's happening here, keep your eyes on that and not what's happening over there. But as we know, even with the Gentile community and the Christian, so-called Christians, Catholics, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, this is how they are when we try to talk to them. They don't want to hear any of the new information. See, it works in stages. At first, it was the other nations who were like this, because we're giving them the true understanding of what the Bible that they gave us was meaning. Now, as some brethren are raised up to give some more information and more revelation about where our land is, now we got our own people doing this right here. So at first, like I said, remember, many of the Gentiles aren't going to make it because they're doing this. 2/3 of our own people aren't going to make it because they're doing this also. The Most High, like I said, He's just. So many people are now hearing this information. Now they don't want to accept it. That's on them. They don't want to investigate it. That's on them. But the Most High is putting it out. So like I said, this goes for, like I said, Gentiles and Hebrews alike. And if it told you there was going to be more books and more understanding, and you're still rejecting it, maybe you need to do some more self-reflection. Pray to the Most High that He opens up your eyes and your ears in order to be able to understand what's going on. This is what I've been seeing for a very long time. All this information out here, and many people, even in the Hebrew community, just ignoring it. Ignoring that 800-pound gorilla in the corner. All this information about this being our land. All this information about the 10 tribes being here. Ignoring all these other books that the Edomites have hidden. And trust me, we're just scratching the surface. There's way more books and way more information. But this here is how to ignore the 800-pound gorilla for dummies. At first, it was the nations ignoring the information. Now we got even people in the Hebrew community ignoring the information. Ephesians 4:14. That we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning and craftiness whereby they lie and wait to deceive. Right here, all these different religions, but also it could be said it's a Hebrew Israelite, because knowing that you're a Hebrew Israelite is one part of it, but also knowing where you originate from, also being willing to understand, accept the new information that the Most High was going to give you is also part of this as well. Many people don't want to, embrace the new information. Many people can't. That's why we have to definitely test the spirit of people. And you get this right here. People like this. I thank God for slavery. If it wasn't for slavery, I might be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree. That would be Florida State Rep Kimberly Daniels. And see, that's what Esau teaches. Oh man, we brought you civilization. If we wouldn't have brought you guys over here, you guys be over in Africa in some mud hut somewhere. Because see, that's Esau's whole narrative, is that you came from Africa. You all came from Africa. And if you don't like it here, take your black ass back to Africa. And what's sad is that we got a lot of people who look like us, who think the same way, who refuse to look at all the evidence that this is our land, but are quick to believe what Esau has told us is our, what he's been telling us this whole time is that this is not your land and that you came from Africa. We brought every single one of you from Africa and that you were never here. That is a total Edomite doctrine. Telling you to go somewhere when he's not even from here. Now, as we're seeing, this country, like I said, America and Americans right there, are just totally oblivious to all the things that are happening. There's a huge, almost bank runs going on in over there in Germany, in Deutsche Bank, which is going to be just like the next Lehman Brothers. It's actually following exactly the same course. They're pulling out people are pulling like $1 billion a day from this bank. Once this bank collapses, it's going to be just like 2008, but way worse. But most people are just like this, smiling as everything is just falling apart, acting like there's not a care in the world and everything's going to be fine. Esau's always going to be on top. Esau's always going to make it. He's always going to be on top. But the Most High is telling you now, this is huge biblical prophecy right now. Revelations of who we are and where our land is has now made it so that we can figure out where we are in prophecy. And right now, y'all laugh at the woke people, but you're going to wish you listened. You're getting your opportunity right now to hear the truth. Many people are just kind of laughing about it and keep on going and keep on moving and thinking we're going to be like in this situation forever. We're not. We're right now at the end. Like I said, you're sitting there looking now. You're going to have to make a choice. Is this you're going to start to accept this new information or be left behind? Either you're going to start to read and for yourself and study, or you're going to be left behind. That's where we're at now. The days of being able to sit on the fence and just kind of stick with one thing, and not have to make a choice, that's coming to an end. It says, I am different. And it has cost me many people, but I'm always myself. It is better to lose others than to lose yourself to fit in. I said, I've been doing this for a couple years now, not very long, but I've never needed anyone to be with me. I got my brethren that I'm close to, and that's pretty much it. I don't need people to, pat me on the back or tell me, you're doing this right, or this isn't right, or this and that. The Most High has been guiding me this entire time. Even from the beginning, I've always been getting into other books. I've been getting into other books for a while, reading and studying and bringing this information out, even when it wasn't even popular very, very much at all. It still isn't, but it's getting more popular because I see a lot more people reading and studying. And there's one last thing I wanted to show you how this is biblical prophecy. The fact that the people are coming together and praying for one another. That's a huge part of it. I'm going to start bringing out more information about how important prayer is, and that's actually how many of the miracles that Moses was able to perform was through the prayer of the people and the prayer of the priesthood together, controlling the elements. But us coming together like Elder Ayal at One Nation and One Power, other brethren like Kurumeo, 432 The Drop, Lil Murray, Lex Will, all bring out this information, as well as many others. This is all part of biblical prophecy. And as we grow, the others are going to fall off. That is biblical prophecy. Well, I should just say prophecy. I'm going to read from the Book of Mormon. It's the Book of Jacob, chapter 5, 62, verses 62 through 65. Tell me if this is not what you're seeing right now. Wherefore, let us go to and labor with our might this last time. For behold, the end draweth nigh. And this is for the last time that I shall prune my vineyard. This is the last day's prophecy. Pruning that vineyard has given us all this knowledge, understanding, bringing us back from the depths, bringing us back from despair. Okay, let me continue. Graft in the branches. Begin at the last, that they may be the first, and that the first may be the last. And dig about the trees, both old and young, the first and the last and the first, and that all may be nourished once again for the last time. This is talking about how these prophecies are going to happen here in the Americas, the last place that they found the Hebrews and the best lands. Okay, wherefore dig about them and prune them and dung them once more for the last time, for the end draweth nigh. Okay. And if it be that so that these last grafts shall grow and bring forth the natural fruit, then shall ye prepare the way for them that they may grow. So right here, he's giving us the knowledge, understanding. He's preparing us. He's bringing us back, under the full understanding of who we are and where we come from, where our land is. This is all part of the prophecy. This is all part of the getting us ready. Okay, and I'll continue here 65. And as this is a part of prophecy that you're seeing, and as they begin to grow, ye shall clear away the branches which bring forth bitter fruit, according to the strength of the good and the size thereof. Okay, that's huge right there. Let me read that again. And as they begin to grow, ye shall clear away the branches which bring forth bitter fruit. So as we grow in this knowledge and understanding, and we come together, he is then going to clear all these other branches that are bringing forth evil fruit. The ones who aren't growing, the ones who aren't learning, he's going to begin to clear away. The other nations who have brought forth evil fruit are going to be getting cleared away out of our lands. All right? One more time. And as they begin to grow, ye shall clear away the branches which bring forth bitter fruit, according to the strength of the good and the size thereof. And ye shall not clear away the bad thereof once, lest the roots thereof should be too strong for the graft, and the graft thereof shall perish, and I lose the trees of my vineyard. So he's not going to clear away the bitter producing trees all at once. But as we grow and get stronger, then he will move away more and more of the trees that produce bitter fruit. Now, people can sit there and say, "Oh, it's out of the Book of Mormon. I don't know." Hey, look at the prophecies. Is these things happening? Yes, they are. I don't care what they've done to try to keep us out of these books. They're going to say whatever it is they want to say. They're going to manipulate things. They're going to change words. They're going to change things in order to keep us out of these books. That's what they've been doing this entire time. Before, many people wouldn't read the Bible because they said, "Oh, it's a white man's book, so therefore I'm not going to read that." But actually, when you actually start to read it, you start to realize, hold on, this is our book. How the hell do they consider say it's a white man's book when you start to read the book, it's actually our book? But see, they say things like that all the time in order to keep you out of it. So you hear the same thing about the Book of Mormon. Oh, it's a white man's book. They hate black people, this and that. I don't care what the religion says. I'm going to read what the book says. And I'm going to compare it to history. And I'm going to let the Most High send his Holy Spirit in order to guide me. If there's nothing in here that I don't need to read, trust me, real soon, I won't read it anymore. But as I start to read it, I see there's more and more and more information. But that's a huge part of biblical prophecy. So I've seen, like I said, Elder Ayal coming together with myself, like-minded brethren, learning and growing and working together. That is huge biblical prophecy. And it's going to continue. I guarantee it, because the Most High said it will. As you can see, the channel is getting stronger. more people are being drawn to the truth. More people are supporting us. And thank all the people who have been supporting us. It says, as you bless us, the Most High is going to bless you. All these promises that are in the Bible are true, except they've been applied to the wrong people. You're now seeing who the Most High is going to bless. I'm sure he's blessing many people. I know that people who've been blessing us are getting blessed as well, because I know that's how the Most High set it up. That's the way the Most High has set this up. And if that's what he has written, that's what will happen. And I know many of my other brethren have been getting blessed as well, which then gives us opportunity to bless you as well. So like I said, it's a very delicate process, but the way the Most High set it up, and it's absolutely beautiful to see. You know, and it's like I said, it's not all just about the Hebrews getting everything restored to them. It's also for the few Gentiles that the Most High has decided he's going to save as well. They're going to be blessed to be able to stay here, to be able to enjoy these lands the way they were supposed to be enjoyed. Now we have plenty of brethren who are, you know, kicking against the bricks here and wanting to attack and everything else, which is fine. I said, because that's all part of prophecy as well. You're being used to do your job. But ultimately, the Most High's will be done. I'm going to be definitely hooking up with other brethren who are like-minded, who want to read the other books, who want to learn, and we're only going to get stronger. Do you want to be a part of that, or do you want to be left behind? All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.